Hi, my name's Matt Dana, managing partner of Jet Probate, and I'm here with my partner, Todd Smith. Hi, Todd.
Hi, Matt.
Good to have you. Talk a little probate today.
Yeah, excited.
We're going to talk about a little different topic related to probate, but as you know, there is a billion-dollar industry, if not $1 trillion industry, called cash advances coming out of probate. And there's a lot of websites on the internet that offer these cash advance services. We actually here at Jet Probate, we have cash advance services as well that we can offer. But tell me, Todd, what really is a cash advance, and how does it differ from maybe a loan?
Yeah, so what I've found is there's been instances in the last few years where I'm helping an executor administer an estate, and maybe there's a beneficiary that is like you're talking about, is just in hard times and needs some liquidity in their life, and they know they're about to get, say the estate's worth $1 million and they're getting a third of it. They know a few $100,000 are coming their way, but the executor is kind of, we're making sure we do what we need to do to get this as much as we can out of the house, and it's not selling right away. And so we may be months, maybe even a year away from getting that cash. And so these cash advances, it's just a tool that we can point someone toward where they can get liquidity, they can get cash, they can get money very quickly if they need it.
Couple of days.
In a couple of days. And it's not a loan in the sense that the company that's providing that cash isn't having you sign a promissory note. What they're having you sign is they're having you sign over a portion of your beneficial interest in that estate. So you're selling them that. So there's a little bit of a premium on that, but that's not interest. It's just the cost of getting that cash advance sooner than you otherwise would. And so I look at it as a tool that's there for those special circumstances where it's very important. There are some people that it might be a matter of life and death. And this is something where there's a service industry that has provided a solution.
There might be a medical reason. Their house might be in foreclosure already. And I really think, Todd, as the economy still tends to sputter right now, that this is going to be a tool more and more that people are going to be looking for. And I like the way you said it's not a loan. They don't have to repay anything. And let's just use an easier number. Let's just suppose that their share of the inheritance is going to be roughly $100,000. Do they have to do a cash advance on the whole 100,000, or can they just do a portion of that? Explain to me how that works.
The cash advances that I've seen come out of probate range from as low as $5,000 or $10,000 to more.
Yeah.
And so no, they don't have to sell their entire interest. Maybe they just want to sell a $10,000 interest. And again, it's not a loan. And the beauty there is, say something happened where they took out more than they ended up entitled to at the end. Well, that's a risk that the cash advance service provider took on. And so they don't have to worry about still owing the difference going forward.
Yeah, it might be that if we look at this and we're going to do a cash advance, and there again, we know the guy is going to get $100,000. Like you said, maybe it's tied up in a house that is having some difficulty selling. Maybe the house needs some fix up. Maybe there's some IRS issues that need to be cleaned up. And, a lot of times people want to blame attorneys for dragging their feet on probate, but we're not dragging our feet. There's complications that pop up that just take time to deal with. Sometimes there's some family disputes. And here you are as a beneficiary. It'd be very frustrating knowing that, maybe in a year from now, I'm going to get this $100,000. But a year from now, my own personal house may be gone or lost to foreclosure, or maybe this operation or medical procedure that my daughter needs, that opportunity's gone. So I have people on the phone say, why would somebody do that? It's just, to me, is it kind of similar to, what would it be like? How would you compare that to like an advance on a life insurance policy or something like that? Isn't that a kind of a similar concept?
It's a very similar concept. It's a solution to the problem.
Yeah.
And without that solution, you might be in a very difficult situation. And so I think just like an advance on life insurance, an advance on your inheritance, is gonna be something that is worth whatever the premium cost it is to solve that problem.
Yeah, and obviously the guys that are going to make the advance, I mean, they're in it to make a profit, right? They're not in this for free, and they are taking on some risk. There are things that could pop up in the probate that could make the share smaller than they thought. And so people often ask, well, what type of, what's the formula or the magical mathematical formula? And I think it all depends on how long they think it's going to take to get that end money. And I know a lot of times when we quote these cash advances, we quote it as though we're not going to get the money until a year from now. And if we're able to settle the probate quicker and sooner and do it within 6 months, then we'll give back some of that, right? But we'll sell it as though it's going to take a year. If it takes longer than that, then we're going to lose out. If it takes shorter than that, then we're going to give you a refund. So I think it can be very, very fair, right?
And the value that's provided, and what I've seen in these circumstances, is how quickly this can work. If you need cash, they can raise the cash very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's what solves the problem.
But you can't do this with a trust, right? I mean, if I'm a beneficiary of a trust, I can't sell my interest in the trust. Why?
Well, not under Arizona law.
Yeah.
And
Most states, I would say.
And most states. And also the document itself might even have language in there that doesn't allow
Has a
you.
spendthrift clause.
Right.
I mean, most trusts that we draft, they have it's called a spendthrift clause. And it specifically says that Susie or Johnny that are getting this inheritance, they can't take it down. Let's say I set up a trust for Johnny and it's going to pay out, say, $25,000 a year for the rest of his life. I don't think Johnny's good with money, and I only want him to have $25,000 a year. So Johnny can't take that trust down to a bank and say, "Hey, I'm going to get $25,000 the rest of the year. What will you pay me for it now?" Because of the spendthrift clause.
I would thwart the interest of the grantor.
Is there anything else you want to mention about cash advances or any of your experiences with cash advances? And
well, just like anything, I think that it's a solution for specific circumstances. And, it's one of those things where if you're in those circumstances, it's something you ought to consider.
yeah. Well, thanks for your time today.